Let's start the breaking news coming in from United States. President Donald Trump has ordered a pause on U.S. military aid to Ukraine, aiming to pressure Zelenskyy into peace talk with Russia. A White House official has confirmed that aid is under review to ensure it contributes to a solution. Now, this move comes amid concern over U.S.-Ukraine relations and Ukraine's resistance to a ceasefire without security guarantees. So this is the breaking news we're getting in from United States. U.S. has decided to pause the military aid to Ukraine, aiming to pressure Zelenskyy into peace talks with Russia. My colleague Rishabh joins us live on the broadcast with more details. Rishabh, help us understand how much did US give as military aid to Ukraine, and what does it mean for Ukraine?
Well, Akash, good morning. Definitely, when it comes to the U.S. aid to Ukraine, it was the highest in the world. You know, the Europe combined aid that has been given since February 2022 to Ukraine is not even, half of what U.S. has given. As per many estimates, the United States complete aid, which includes humanitarian aid, which includes cash as well as equipment, goes up to 360 billion. But military aid was somewhere around 119 billion is what we are given to understand that U.S. has contributed in the war since the beginning of the war in February 2022, and now that the military aid has been paused by United States new President Donald Trump, it is definitely a big blow for Ukraine. Remember, the way things are unfolded on Friday morning Washington time and Friday evening our time in the Oval Office of White House. Since then, things have been taking shape really fast. We saw the European leaders coming together, and now the way Donald Trump has taken this step, it is definitely going to change the course of war.
Well, absolutely. Rishabh, stay on with us. We are joined by former diplomat Ravinder Sachdeva. Sir, U.S. has now paused the military aid to Ukraine. I want to understand from you, how do you assess this, and what does it mean for the U.S.-Ukraine relationship?
Thank you so much. I mean, it certainly is a radical step, right? I mean, things are moving towards the U.S., reframing its Ukraine policy, and all signals were that the U.S. was going to revise its approach, and its approach, at least in its rhetoric, has become very different. But now to see that the U.S. is pausing its military aid, that is a very radical step. I think the next step which will happen, or the next, which one could anticipate, is that European leaders immediately need to again reassemble, and maybe rush down to Washington, D.C., have a meeting, and try and see how they can convince America to restart the aid or reconfigure the aid. But it's definitely a very radical step. Also it depends, when he says he's paused the aid, what does it mean? Because you see, already, no doubt, there are lots of weapons already flowing into Ukraine due to the Biden administration decisions. When they take a decision, it takes time for the weapons to flow into Ukraine. So in all probability, weapons, or American weapons especially, will keep flowing into Ukraine till about this summer, because of the decisions taken by the previous administration. So the impact will be after the summer on the ground. But knowing that the U.S. has decided to stop the aid is, it's a radical thing. And also remember, Starlink, the Ukrainian army is fighting and contest with the Russians only because of the Starlink connectivity. If there is no Starlink, supposing Elon Musk or the U.S. says, okay, we are stopping Starlink, that'd be, the Ukrainian army within days will have to just stop fighting. They will not be able to fight. So we are in a very, very new and uncharted territory.
Well, absolutely. It remains to be seen how it pans out for the two countries. But this comes after this verbal spat between Donald Trump and Zelenskyy in the Oval Office that we witnessed last week. In fact, I'm joined by international affairs expert J.S. Sodhi, sir. Thank you for speaking to Times Now. Donald Trump, in fact, had said that Zelensky is not ready for peace. And we heard from Zelensky, he said that a peace agreement is very, very far away. How do you assess this update that has come from US? They have paused the military aid to Ukraine.
Jai Hind, Akansha. It's my honor to be on an esteemed channel. What Zelensky did in the Oval Office with Donald Trump last week was suicidal for Ukraine. And this has been proved because now that America has decided to stop all aid to Ukraine, it is just a matter of few weeks when Ukraine will no longer be able to put up any kind of resistance to the Russians. In fact, few weeks back, Zelensky had said in a statement that the day American aid stops to Ukraine, Ukraine cannot fight the war for more than 2 weeks. So already the clock has started ticking. In fact, Zelensky has done two biggest blunders of his life. One, he provoked Russia, which led to the war 3 years back starting. And the second, he provoked USA when he, I would say, misbehaved with Donald Trump in his office in the White House. So clearly, by provoking two superpowers in the world, Ukraine and Zelensky have brought immense trouble upon themselves.
And many are saying that this, in fact, is a pressure tactic by US on Ukraine. In fact, I'm also joined by former diplomat Deepak Bura. Sir, I want to understand from you, how do you assess this? This has come after the verbal spat that we saw between Donald Trump and Zelensky in the Oval Office last week. How do you assess this? Because many are saying that this, in a way, is a pressure tactic by the United States.
Good morning, ma'am. Thank you very much. Always a pleasure to be on your amazing channel and early in the morning. It's very, very clear that President Donald Trump does not like Zelensky. The circus joker who claims to be the president of the Ukraine does not understand it, or even if he does, he thinks that he can get around by cracking jokes all the time. May I just say that when the conversation took place, there was something that he said which triggered the very ferocious response from Donald Trump. If you analyze that, and I've listened to it very closely, I've looked at the readout both in Ukrainian and in English. What he was saying was, when he said that I'm the president of Ukraine, I'm a president at war, and I'm suffering. And then he said, you have a nice ocean, which is the blessing of geography for the United States, that you have an ocean on both sides. But soon you will also suffer. That's when Trump lost it and said, you are no one to tell us what our future will be. That is not something that it's like somebody coming up to India and saying, all right, right now your economy is doing well, but tomorrow you will be on the streets. You don't say things like that. That's the first thing that got him. Second, when Donald Trump said, and ma'am, you might want to listen to that conversation again, excuse me, that we gave you $350 billion. Zelensky was about to say, well, you gave it to your military-industrial complex. It all went to you. So that kind of thing, again, suggests a certain amount of lack of gratitude. Of course, there's no such thing as gratitude in international affairs. But nevertheless, it got Trump very angry. So what he has done now, he has made it very clear that this is it, no more. Now, the Europeans are trying to step in, and that fellow from England is saying, I'm going to put boots on the ground. At the same time, the chap from England says, without American help, I can't do anything. So they are all trying to play their own game, and the sacrificial lamb is Ukraine. Ma'am, I don't think Zelensky, I don't make predictions, we're not trained to do that, but I don't think he'd survive more than a week, either a military coup or impeachment by his own parliament.